Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Cinema A to B. Today we have from back in 2011, I believe. Yeah,
that's correct.
This is Attack the Block, written and directed by Joe Cornish. Kind of a quirky little sci-fi comedy from the early 2010s. I don't think a lot of people have seen this one, so this is kind of a little more obscure. But we'll get into this. So, Alec, what are your thoughts on a revisit on Attack the Block?
So I threw this up for us to watch because I remember when this came out, it was, and because we were both still living in LA at the time, and our friend group, this was all the rage. This movie was, I remember they talked about this movie a ton. Like several of the people were just in love with this movie, of how great it was. And so Laura and I watched it together, and I didn't like it. I was like, it was fine. I just didn't really get much from it. And I think what I in my head had was we had did basically a double feature at home. We had just gotten married, we're hanging out, we were going to sit down and watch a movie, and she was tired, she was going to take a nap. And so I was like, well, I really want to watch Warrior. That came out the same year. And she was like, oh yeah, go watch that without me. And so she was going to fall asleep. So she watched the beginning of it, but Warrior's amazing. And so she stayed up for the entire it's heavy and emotional and is firing all cylinders. And then I'm like, well, let's watch Attack the Block. That's what we both wanted to watch earlier. You're up, you're not going to take a nap now. So we end up watching Attack the Block following Warrior. And I'm like, I could just tell I am not in the headspace to watch this fun romp of kids in South London or wherever they are, wherever they are in London with an alien invasion. So I was like, I really wanted to revisit this because I was like, I remember people hearing good things about it. It was a love affair with this movie. Maybe it was just because I watched it right after Warrior that I don't hold it in this high regard. So we watched it again. I still don't hold it as high regard as the people. So it's not a bad film. I just doesn't resonate with me. There's nothing it does better than many other movies in this kind of vein. It's fun, but I still don't see why people thought this movie was so amazing. I don't know what about it makes it this great movie that our friends back in the day thought it was. So,
well, go ahead. I'm gonna take you on a little journey here because I'm gonna take you back to 2011. I think it was June or July, and if I'm not mistaken, Vlad and I got a sneak preview of this film well before the general public at the now defunct ArcLight theaters in Sherman Oaks, which I think the Regal operates that location now, so it's still there. And we loved it. It was quirky, it was very funny, and I'll get into this because it's not as funny on a rewatch as it was the first time. But the comedy in it was really refreshing. The concept was familiar in some ways. The quirkiness was the whole South London angle. But I'm going to say this is one of those movies, not unlike Napoleon Dynamite, that needs no expectation. As soon as you attach expectations to movies like this, they don't typically meet them. And this is one of them. And so it got a lot of buzz from people that were just pleasantly surprised to watch a really pretty well-crafted movie. I mean, visually, the visuals, the sound, the score is really fun. The visual effects are really interesting. It was made for $13 million. It looks like it's 30 or 40 million. So I've got a note here. I feel like it punches above its weight on a technical level. The kids are kind of quirky and fun. What I think is working against it on a rewatch that I understand now is that the protagonists suck. As people, they suck. And for whatever reason, I was kind of able to look past that the first time I saw it and really enjoyed it, and eventually kind of grew to I don't know. I think I latched onto them a little quicker. On a rewatch, they're awful. It took me way longer. I'm just older, and it took me longer to come around to them. And if you read reviews on IMDb, it's very funny, and I kind of agree. They're just man, I have a quarter of the way through, I'm rooting for the aliens to kill all these kids because they're just awful. And so I think that hurt it. But the biggest thing working against Attack the Block is its rating. There's no reason this should be rated R.
I agree.
It's it eliminated an entire potential audience group by insisting on being this pretty bloody, like R-rated romp. And even the tone of the movie with the kids and the way they are screams PG-13. And if you look it up, the movie made like no money.
No, it's like $6 million that I made.
It bombed bad. And so those are the two things that really worked against it. The rating was wrong because they left content in, some violence and stuff in there that didn't need to be in there. If they could have gotten themselves bumped down to a PG-13, I think it would have been a better story. But the kids just aren't, they're just not relatable. Like for most of it, eventually, Pest is pretty funny. That's kind of it. Like that was kind of my thing on a rewatch is like, other than Pest and then Props and Mayhem, the two little kids, it's not as funny as I remembered. It's just not. So yeah, it was fine. I had a little bit of nostalgia for it, but I'll be honest, I don't think I'm going to end up watching this again.
It definitely won't be.
I was like, I think I knocked it down a few pegs in a rewatch than where I probably had it before.
And I will say I think there's one other thing that came out that knocks it down a peg or basically didn't allow it to be as big was because you also got Super 8 from Spielberg that year in 2011
as well. J.J. Abrams.
J.J. Abrams, sorry.
And that movie sucks.
Yeah, it does. But you kind of are competing against.
Super 8 had all the marketing
stuff behind it.
Behind it. Yeah. They barely marketed this either. So sorry, I'm very strong opinions.
Oh no, I agree. I'll take this over Super 8. I just remember that
day of the week. Yeah.
But I've only seen Super 8 once and never feel like I have to watch it again. This one again, I was just like, maybe it was the mindset. And I think some of it too is also coming at it from a much older standpoint. So like, I don't connect with the stuff nearly as much but it was just frustrating to me because I'm like, why? Like, and I was going to bring it up as well. And it was great that you brought it up, but like I related to Napoleon Dynamite, the same thing I heard it from a bunch of my friends who made it this amazing movie and that I'd never seen. So then I sat down and watched it. I'm like, what the heck are you guys talking about? Like, this movie's not great. Like this is, and like,
no, but I think Napoleon Dynamite is great.
Well, but
like, I'll die on that hill, but it did not fare well from anybody that hyped it and then had their friend watch it.
Yeah. I'm the friend that,
no, I don't know anybody that watched that after a recommendation that likes that movie. Nobody. Yeah.
I mean, I don't hate it. I like it. And I quote it a lot now. Like I understand why people said it because there's so many good quotes from it, but I still don't hold it in high regard as many people do because of like, oh man, it was so amazing. I'm just like, okay, sure. We'll move on. Let's talk about something else.
Yeah. No, this one, the other thing that worked against this is I would say the quirkiness of like South London, the projects works for it, but then this is an era where like the dominant audience for it to make a bunch of money was American audiences. And the kids are really hard to understand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like they're just hard to understand. And so you got people going in to see this kind of alien take on the Goonies that's rated R, and you can't understand most of the kids talking. People are going to check out really fast. Like I could picture people walking out of this one. Now, my screening, like I said, it was a packed sneak preview and the place was a buzz. I mean, we laughed where we wanted to laugh. It was a really nice, like communal viewing experience. Everybody was into it. I think that's where a lot of some of that buzz came from. But you're talking about a crowd that kind of prides themselves on being at the front end of a trend. And, so it's...
And for that reason, I do miss living in LA and watching movies at the ArcLight. I mean, it was always an amazing experience. And you always you knew people who were in the industry were at that, and that showing with you. And it was like, I don't know, it always felt a little bit more special than it seemed anywhere else.
It was for sure. And it's really sad that both those locations closed. And I know they're trying to get the main one reopened in Hollywood under different ownership with the Cinerama.
Yeah.
Dumb thing. Tarantino was like trying to spearhead that because that was his favorite place to go to a movie. But it was a happening place to be. Either of those locations, you could sometimes. It never happened for me, but I knew folks that go. And Clooney was a George Clooney movie, and Clooney stood up at the front. Mm-hmm. Hey, thanks for Thanks for coming to watch it. They do little brief Q&As afterwards sometimes that were kind of unprompted. It was a really neat place. It's kind of sad that it's defunct.
My favorite was the small touches they had where like they'd have the usher come up and introduce the film. They wouldn't have ads running beforehand or whatever. It was just like, hey, and now your feature presentation, blah. And then that same usher would stand for like 5 to 10 minutes in the theater, picture, sound, like everything was like... This is what you should be getting, like this kind of quality, making sure like this kind of pride in coming to the theaters kind of thing. But obviously that takes money and takes employees and takes...
Well, COVID's what killed the ArcLight. Yeah, sadly. But yeah, no, it's, like I said, on a technical level, it's great. Like they save budget stylistically, the way they portray the aliens without the fact that they're basically rotoscoping them in that deep black. And so all they have to do is that, and then the teeth that kind of glow. So they have a really unique, they do feel otherworldly. There's some smart stuff in the script as far as like they kind of give away what's going on with the wildlife show that the real skinny guy's watching. And he kind of lets them know, hey, by the end, he's like, I think that's the female and it's letting off pheromones. And like, it's anybody that's interacted with that, it's coming after the males are coming after them. That was a cool touch. And it does stick the landing. I do like the end where they're getting carted out by the police and they're all chanting Moses and past, Moses, that's for you. And I think it's the first time Moses has smiled in the whole film. And I will say, I really liked Boyega in this role. And I was so disappointed that, and I'm not for somebody getting typecasted, but I was so disappointed when I first saw Force Awakens and Finn is comedic relief, played well by Boyega. But I was like, he's so much better when he's brooding. Like he needed more movies where he was like kind of brooding like that.
Yeah, I agree.
And we kind of, I don't know, we missed a lot of that. Like he did those 3 films. He's done some other stuff, but that I haven't watched. But I really liked him in this. Like he's a big takeaway coming out of the screening was, man, I really like this kid. It felt like you were watching, a young Denzel Washington or something in the role. I
definitely think he has that kind of talent. I think he was obviously highly underutilized in the sequel trilogy. I mean, he was just kind of very frustrated with what happened there. But I mean, no, he's excellent. I think he's got a good range. He's got everything that could make a good leading man. And you just kind of, I don't know what really happened,
They were talking about making a sequel to this now. And I'm like, who's going to green light that?
Yeah. This thing didn't make any money. Yeah.
It'd be kind of funny to see Moses like in, I don't know, suburban life with like a wife and kids and stuff. And they all think he's this like buttoned up guy. And they don't realize, 15, 20 years earlier, he saved the block.
He saved the block. He killed off an alien invasion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's aliens, bruv, belief.
Apparently, so Joe Cornish, like wrote this and stuff like that. He did a lot of dialogue. Like, so he grew up in, I guess, South London, but he interviewed a bunch of kids of like what, like literally he asked them questions like, hey, what would you grab if an alien invasion happened? What weapon would you grab to fight it off? And they were all like telling these different things. And so basically that's what they used. There's a lot of quotes. Like he was asking what much of, like little, like, high school, middle school girls or whatever, like pictures of the alien. They're like, it's not gonna give you chlamydia. And he's like, that's going in the script right away. Yeah. He's just like, this is perfect. Like, so he definitely had like pulled, apparently, obviously I didn't grow up in South London, so I don't know for certain, but apparently like he got on the mark of like the accents and the language and how the kids were talking at that time. So he did a pretty good job, but.
Yeah. I think, like I said, I think the whole South London dynamic is what's interesting to me as an American. Like I'm not familiar with any of this, and obviously it's embellished subculture, right? And I had read some stuff. People were pretty frustrated that are actually from South London on the way they were portrayed. But I mean, that's pretty normal. But I think that worked against it. Cause I think if you make this movie and it's like inner city American kids, it makes a bunch of money because the built-in audience in that subculture is just more people. So whereas, I mean, yeah, London's a big city, but it's not a huge swath of people that are like even familiar with that subculture and like how they speak. And so it's not a bad film. It's not a bad film. And I still had fun with it, but the comedy didn't hit as hard. And yeah, the kids, it took me forever to like come around to like, I was thinking halfway through, I was like, do these kids even have character arcs? And they do, like they kind of come around, but the courtesy of their neighbor girl, but it's like that whole argument kind of stinks too. Is like, so we wouldn't have messed with Ian. She kind of calls them out on it. You know, we wouldn't have messed with you if we'd have known you like were our neighbor. And she's like, oh, so that makes it okay. So, and there does seem to be some remorse from Moses, like towards the end on like how the path he was kind of headed down, I guess, with starting to run drugs for that guy. And I do like that scene where it's like, what is it? Ron's weed room. And that guy's listening to his own like mixtape.
Yeah.
Get the strap. Yeah, the fake like songs, some of the fake rap songs in there are like super funny. So I don't know.
Yeah,
it has its moments, but
I do have to admit to all the listeners is I literally did buy this movie on Blu-ray back in 2011 or whenever it came out to watch it because of everybody saying it's amazing. So I fired it up on the Blu-ray to watch it again.
It looks good.
It looks great. Yeah, it looks great. But so I own this film. I do crack. That does crack me up, and I'm like, man, and I will never watch it again. But it'll sit on my shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's a fun little watch. I think you'd need to find it on a streamer where it's like you're not paying for it though.
Yeah.
Like
and no ads. Like if you're going to be watching with ads, that's going to really take you out.
Yeah.
And watch it with some friends who maybe never seen it before, going with no expectations. I think this movie is a lot better if you watch it with people than if you just watch it by yourself as well. Because you kind of
I agree with that.
Yeah. It's a good movie to watch with a group of friends and no expectations.
And that's what you didn't have when you screened it with Laura. Like, you didn't have the group viewing experience, which was a lot of fun.
I bet. Yeah.
It really was. Like, the laughter gets magnified, and maybe that's why it wasn't as funny. It was just me. Mm-hmm. Right. And this not everybody laughing and ribbon, elbowing each other in the ribs. Like, I think there are some movies that just rely on that more than others.
I think
we've lost that with this decline of the theater experience. The group viewing experience with a fun movie is amazing. The energy, when you get people that are respectful of the theater experience and aren't on their phone and doing
talking,
just doing who knows what else.
Paying attention to a movie. We're all sharing the same experience for the next 2 hours or 3 hours nowadays. Taking the emotional roller coaster that movies take us on. Yeah, I didn't miss it because I'm pretty sure I know. I'm pretty sure Laura did actually end up falling asleep the first viewing. I'm not 100%. It's been what, 14 years since that first viewing. I do know that she fell asleep the second viewing. She was like, I don't even think she finished it with me. So I think she was like, I'm out. I'm going to go do something else. So I know she's not a big fan of this movie either. So, and Laura, if you're listening and I'm completely wrong, I apologize, but I'm pretty positive. Yeah, I'm okay saying this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense.
Yeah. So both my viewings were almost just myself or just with Laura, who was also not interested in the movie. So it's been an interesting run.
Yeah, nothing was going to fare very well next to Warrior.
No, oh my goodness. Yeah. Again, I should have reversed it, but
yeah,
I was like,
that should have been the lead in.
Yeah. I was not in the right headspace. I was like, I don't care about this movie at all.
Could have primed the pump a little bit with Attack the Block before heading into Warrior instead of the ultimate letdown.
Yeah. Just this, oh my goodness, this movie made me feel all the feels. And now I don't care about any of you characters. I hope you all die, kind of a thing. So, which is frustrating.
It's kind of good that several of them do. It's not like all the kids come out unscathed. I think they lose 2 of them, right?
3, I believe.
2 or 3.
Yeah.
The one kid gets his head popped off, which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
And then the other kid just kind of dies in the hallway, but
wasn't there one?
I thought it was just 2.
Maybe it is just 2.
The rapper guy died, the drug dealer, he dies too, and his bodyguard.
Yeah.
So,
who is the only one who actually uses a gun in the entire entire show.
Yeah.
Movie. That's how I had. He's the true villain.
He is.
You know?
Yeah.
Just goes
Get the strap.
Get the strap. Bam.
That actor did a great job playing him, though.
Yeah.
Like he's really good. He's kind of intimidating, even though he's like not a big guy, but he definitely feels like a loose cannon.
Oh yeah, The only person I really feel like they underused, like it didn't feel right, is Nick Frost from like
he's just.
I mean, no, he's just a side character, but I really was like, I wanted more from him and not.
So they would have put him in a movie like that as a way to get
people into it,
buzz and people into it. But yeah, he's totally underused for sure. Yeah. I do love the scene though, where she's like goes to the door where he peeks his head out the door and like, are they gone? And she's like, no. And he's like, good luck. You got any final thoughts on Attack the Block before I wrap us up?
I do not.
So yeah, again, we want to reiterate, like, this is a fun watch. I would totally say do this in a group setting. Mm-hmm. If, get some people around, maybe imbibe a little bit or gummies or whatever your thing of choice is, and have a good time with it, because I think the strength would be that you don't have to hang on every piece of dialogue for a movie like this. To like, the plot's simple, but I wouldn't sit down and watch it solo. I don't think most people are going to enjoy it. It's just not that kind of movie. So we appreciate everybody catching this discussion on a little more obscure movie this week. And we look forward to rejoining you another conversation next week. Until then, take care.
Thanks, everybody.